I know we talked about it, but
That's fine, I'll look it up.
So how do I find out? Dick might attend by, Zoom. How do I see if he's here?
You would just show up if he's logged on.
Yeah,
usually,
I've got all my meetings at home,
No,
the chat shows up.
He would show up, he's not logged on.
Okay.
Where's the chat?
I don't know. That's where you put your name in.
There's no, yeah. But
Okay.
it should have been down there. And
Yes.
yeah. So
Okay.
if he shows up, you'll see him.
You'll be able to confirm.
You'll be able to see him.
Okay, lovely, thank you. Always learning. So, have you gone around and introduced yourself to everybody, or do you want to introduce
I think
yourself
I
to
just did,
everybody?
yeah.
And we met at the select board meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're gonna work with us, watching?
Yeah.
Nice. So,
Any questions from you?
maybe.
Alright.
So,
They're high tech.
yeah. Get
Well,
a title
so by way of a little more background on Aaron, Aaron's been in small municipal government for over 20 years. He's been a town manager for many years, most recently 10 years up in Wayne. So he's really familiar with the challenges that, towns of this size face when trying to grow their tax base and, kind of spread the taxes out a little bit and bring in business and be business friendly and all of that stuff, so.
Yes, so, yes, so I'm aware of, the need for being a business friendly community and, the challenges, obviously, and the, increasing demands on, public officials to lower the taxes, and obviously the increasing demands to provide more services with less money and things like that, so it's always a challenge. So, obviously, I've never worked in a waterfront community, like on a shore, so that's a little new for me, but I've worked in Wayne for 10 years and it was a lake community, so I know about lakes, and so that'd be interesting. So I have some background with that. Look forward to working with you and learn a little bit about the waterfront, ways that I can help you. So.
Thank you, I'm delighted you're here.
Yeah.
On strange trip. Anyway, on October 10th, so a year ago, Dennis brilliantly had us form a working group. We took applications and we formed this little subgroup to work on visioning for the Wiscasset waterfront going forward. And so this is a result of what they came up with. They worked all winter and we're all summer too. And so you can have a copy of this. So this is what we're going to be talking about this evening. It's been presented to us. But what we want to do is discuss it amongst, there's only 3 committee members here tonight, but discuss it amongst ourselves and possibly refine it, because I think our goal, and I'm all ears, is to bring it to the select board and see what direction they want to take.
Sure.
So, copy of that. So, yeah. So you guys know I copied and pasted the guiding principles and elements and goals of this Riverwalk vision. So I don't know if you've looked it over, but draft presentation outline, I know it's not really a technical outline, but could we work our way through it?
So this is an outline that, sorry for interjecting here, if I may.
No, please do.
This is an outline that reflects the order of events you anticipate for your presentation to the select board, is that right?
Yeah, all I did was copy and paste some of the
Okay.
verbiage that you would have that maybe would bring up questions, whether we want to adjust it somewhat or go with it. So, you know, some of it is just where you got your information. That seems pretty self-explanatory to me. So under articulating the possibility and plans, the short-term plans. I'm pretty sure rebuilding our seawall that connects the two piers, I think that's pretty much a priority, the seawall and the parking lot.
Is that priority for the committee, or is that now a priority of the working group?
That is a priority for the town.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, that's
So
fair. When
that
we,
seems,
yeah, when we wrote the short term, it was related to the working group and not to
okay,
the committee itself. It was what we were asked to do in the short term.
right. So, but actually that was brilliant. So, and that's why I added in yellow, the seawall between the rec and commercial pier, because I know that that's been discussed. I don't know if Dennis has an engineering thing out or not, or if that would be something you'll do, Aaron. I don't know, that's out of our wheelhouse.
Oh, I don't know that.
So, yeah,
Just stay tuned.
So, yeah. no worries. So this is kind of what I was referring to. So, and then, well, might as well work our way down. Propose and support recreational pier expansion. What do you guys think?
I see two possible funding opportunities there. The seawall repair, possibly a hazardous mitigation grant.
Okay,
They have a new name for it, I don't know the name of it, but basically that's a, I don't know if you know anything about that, but it's like an emergency management grant. And it's like if there's a problem, a competitive problem, and, an area in town that is constantly being damaged by weather and so forth. But this money goes towards that kind of thing, like this, the section of town that's always flooding, or a section of town that's always, a culvert's always washing out, or, you know, things like that.
okay,
So I think that might qualify.
okay. So one thing I did a couple of weeks ago was I went to the Climate Action Committee's meeting, talking about sea level rise, and of course, they're looking at the whole town, and I was just paying attention to the waterfront. And because our piers, the surfaces even were underwater during a very high tide and storm last December. And I think that really contributed to our seawall washing out
Sure.
because of the current and all. I don't know where's going back. But anyway, I know that they've applied for a grant to
Yeah,
do something.
he told me, I was just happened to be sitting in the office. It's kind of funny that we have to meet now, talking about it. There was something, I'm sitting at his desk, I said, what's this about?
Okay, yeah, so that's, so this is our vision.
It wasn't this, but it
No.
was related to the waterfront plan. I think it was an engineering plan, type bond, I think it is. And, he said that we didn't get that grant. I don't know.
Okay, I do know that some
There was a
climate
grant.
affecting
Yeah.
grant is in the process of being applied for. But one of the
I
things
just
that,
didn't get it, I think that's what he said.
okay, this could be some.
Maybe it's.
But one of the things we're working with,
Office has a program, obviously, like a resiliency, climate change resiliency program.
I think that's,
That's probably the grant.
I think that's what that is.
And then there's obviously the recreation pier expansion is more like an economic development thing. So I think there's some money there to be had. There's a little bit different pots of money for each.
Right, and I think we would qualify for different bits and pieces.
Yeah.
To cobble something together.
Yeah.
So it's less burden on the taxpayer, because
Yeah.
we're well aware of a sizable match.
Yeah.
So. So,
You know what the seawall is, right?
Yeah, jeez. Dennis brought me down there. A little tour.
It's- Well, all right.
I haven't actually looked at it.
No, I haven't swum down and looked at it either, but I have an idea what it is. Luckily.
so, and I know another, it seems to me that the other thing that was really important was to, the proposal of expanding the pier expansion to a larger, to allow for more slips, so going from 14 to 20, that would be more cost effective.
Would provide bigger return on the investment.
Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
right.
So we thought that was important for revenue generating and getting things really moving along, so.
Has all our work been thrown in the trash can on that, is it?
No, no, it's just sitting. It's sitting and waiting, and I think you put in a call to Gartley and Dorsey, they're just busy.
We did, but they're not returning our calls, and the sense I get is they're swamped with work. I think Dennis confirmed that as well.
Mhm.
I think he was having a look at the
So
seawall.
we can try again, maybe do a more formal letter that says we've got some money,
Yeah, something like that.
maybe get a phone call back.
People do respond to those kinds of overtures.
I know I do.
Nice.
So. And then I did find grants and funding, but I bet that's something you can either take over or help us with. But this is a nice little group of people, this, 6 or 7 of them that have really, stepped up to help us.
Do you mind me asking, which 3 people are the members of the committee?
Not at the committee.
These are from the working group, so David Stapp is sort of, is the chair of the working group,
Okay.
for lack of better. And then we are the Waterfront Committee, David, Frank, and me, Susan. And she's the assistant harbor master and note taker, Callie.
And Dick is,
Dick's not here,
right?
he's another.
And you'll meet Dick. Yeah. And I was wondering, when are we gonna get a new duplex? You heard anything about that?
What?
A new nuclear plant?
Oh,
No?
no, I haven't got that one.
So that's not gonna happen, okay?
No, he's not saying it's not gonna happen, he's saying he hasn't heard about it yet.
It's the second day. This is a man a break.
I'm kidding, kind of. I'm kind of kidding.
I just found out that the 90% of their value taken off the tax rolls, so.
Yeah.
Well, we'll settle for something else.
Well, it's gonna be
Oh,
something,
Purdue Power, yeah,
well, it's gonna be something.
We're talking
to
about
do with
that.
property.
yes, I know,
So-
I'm kidding when I brought it up.
I had a friend tell me, like, I told him about the job, he said, Aaron, he said, maybe you could sell some of the nuclear waste, the fuel rods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, this, to Europe?
He was just joking.
Something to Iran or something, or Hamas?
Yeah, great. Okay, so, yes, I'll be, maybe more, Aaron will take over. Grants and funding, but I just want you to know that they can be a resource, so, is it okay if we share your contact information?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Abby did a big roll-up of the funding sources you found.
Yeah,
I
it
will
came,
just send it right there.
yeah, it actually just came straight from, Rockland. Has been doing a really good job. They're doing a new, they're doing basically what we're trying to do and doing a big picture. How are we gonna rebuild and revitalize Rockland Harbor? And they had a list, they basically have been tracking their progress, and they had a huge list of grants on their website, that would be directly applicable to what we're doing as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Let me check that out.
Mhm.
That's one of the things I want to do is meet with some of the neighboring towns, economic development directors.
Great, thank you. Okay, and then supporting the White's Island and Pleasant Street projects. That was what they found to be a priority. So what do you guys think?
Well, the White Zone's gonna be underwater with sea level rise, but maybe, not all of it.
Could you brief me on that?
I'd like to see it used again.
Yep, so
That'd be great.
unfortunately, this isn't a good map of,
I know where White Island is.
Okay.
So I know enough about it. I know that Dennis had told me that there's a bridge out there.
Yeah.
And when he got here, he had it torn down, so it's
it was
unsafe.
falling down here.
Yeah, and he didn't think that it was feasible to, connect it again, but anyways, that was just where he was going with it.
Mhm.
And then there's a road, like a peninsula.
Yeah.
And he was thinking that somebody wanted to dig it up. Is that what this is?
They want to rewild it,
Okay, yes, that's what this
so
project
put
is.
some parking and then,
That's the support part of,
yeah,
Okay,
this portion, the short term.
okay,
these guys are right in that by 2050, and on a high tide, it'll be, that piece will be fairly submerged, but if they plant all kinds of salt water friendly, it'll be marshy. I don't know,
Unless we build it up.
unless they build it up.
We could rip wrap it and build it up.
I think it's important to note that the sea level rise that would cause those things to happen include a 100-year weather event. It's not
Right.
just sea rise. It's,
Right.
so if it's underwater, it would be during that event.
Right,
not
and then drain it
necessarily
off.
all the time, and then it would clear off, and I don't think, like the 8.8 feet, if I remember right, from the LCRP study, that was 2100 with a 100-year event. So that was like the worst case scenario.
Right,
And they weren't recommending that you design to that. They were recommending that you plan for it, and that they were. the
build your
recommendations-
structures that will take that amount of water and pressure, basically, what you're saying.
Well, that's designing for, and they were giving a lower threshold for that, like the 2050 sea rise
Right,
plus a 75-year event or something like that. We'd have to resurrect the study, but there were two levels. There was recommend you design for, and then recommend you plan for,
right,
because 2100 is a long ways away.
yeah.
But I do think planning for 2050 is not
Yeah,
I
unreasonable.
mean, I would love to see, when my dad was a kid, there was a roadway across there.
Yeah.
And that'll never happen again. But I'd love to see a pathway all the way to Mason Station again.
Yeah, that's
That was
part of
one of the
the
Right.
plan.
Right.
plan objectives, was connecting that whole
That'd be,
runway.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So I'm just wondering, as we try to go forward, and now we have a new economic development person, I'm wondering if we should continue this evening, or if we should let
We
the
should
poor guy
probably let
get his
him get
feet
his,
wet,
get his feet wet and
and, and maybe
then revisit it.
call a couple of people,
Yeah.
like that, and then come back in a couple of weeks
Right,
and,
I mean, the thing that I would ask that you do is, prioritize, the projects. Obviously, we can't do all
That's why it's a 10-year plan.
and that's why,
Yeah. Yeah, and we put the slides in order of priority, what we
Oh, we
believe
did.
should, what we believe should happen first,
of them.
which I believe is the pier expansion, should be on that front page. Yeah, sorry. Recreational.
So
pier
it's
expansion.
important to think for Aaron to know that these were all ranked based on several criteria and scored. So each of the projects that are listed there have a score assigned to them, and then they were ranked in terms of priority on top of that. Are the results of that scoring part of this presentation?
There.
And you should forward that to Aaron if you have a copy of it. Can I make a recommendation about how you ought to approach the board on this? My personal feeling is that what you want to do instead of going piecemeal and saying, you know, this is where we want to start, et cetera, I would put the whole vision forward. Ultimately, this is the big picture, you know, the Wiscasset River Walk, and that includes all of this stuff. And then say, and what we're looking for is, are we aligned directionally with the will of the select board? Not get into any discussions about funding behind them at all, but stick strictly with, is this a concept that you can get behind and that you think that you can socialize the message to the town effectively? And let's figure out the funding part and the priority parts once we agree this is what we want to do. And then you break it down into, my business partner loves to see, say, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So that's what you do here, and identify the appropriate funding at each stage. So that way, what you're doing really is looking for conceptual consensus.
Yeah.
Instead
Like a
of,
buy-in.
don't buy the whole plan. We're not giving you the whole plan. We want to know if we're aiming at the right target.
A green light,
Yeah,
green light in a direction.
yeah, exactly.
So one of the things
That's
that I
pretty simple.
thought was really
I think
important
you
when
get
we go to present this to the select board was to, you know, because there is, like when I got over to the next steps, the reality of what's going on, some of the stuff needs to be fixed now. You know, I don't know, being hopeful, I was trying to express the passion that we have for why this could be a good thing, you know, and then one bite at a time. And just making sure, because I do know things will go right to, how much is it gonna cost, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's good if we can answer preliminary questions, like we have a list of grants, you know, don't name them off, but just we're exploring that, things like that. But I want them to know we've done our homework.
Would it be smart to say to them that you don't anticipate having to tap into town resources? I mean, is that not even realistic?
I wouldn't.
Minimal town
Yeah, well,
resources.
I wouldn't promise that, because that always backfires in my opinion. Because then, because,
Because then when you gotta go to them, they say.
There's somebody that will
"Yeah,
never forget that.
yeah, that's something that.
Yeah.
you-
Wait a
you
minute,
reminded
wait a
me,
minute,
so
this
this wasn't gonna cost us anything. You know, so I wouldn't make any promises.
Okay, that sounds wise.
Um,
See, like, understand and simply describe the vision, you know, I mean, we want them to buy into it, that's
Yeah.
why we've all done this work, you know?
I wonder, I mean, I was just looking at some of the drawings and stuff. I wonder, you know, if you were to do this, is if we were to get some big posters of some of the stuff.
And, yeah, pet graphics.
you know,
Sure.
Yeah, we
and-
set up a projector last time with the PowerPoint itself and shared it, but I do like your idea as well.
And you said you did a survey?
So we did a survey with our working group, because we don't have any buy-in we didn't have at that point have the committee knowing what we were working on. So we had a group of 6 to 8 people that were part of our working group that live or work in Wiscasset. These are the things that we think are important based off of, our guiding principles, which she has, be a good steward, increase tax base, encourage tourism, and I think there's actually something missing. But there's like 6 criteria. And based off of those, like, is this project hitting these criteria? And if they are, then we're gonna rate them higher, and if they aren't, we're gonna rate them lower.
Sure.
So that was the idea behind the ranking system, is, okay, these are our 6 guiding principles. Does this project that we like, this idea that we like, align with those 6 guiding principles?
Maybe I make a little bit of advice before we even go to the selectmen. It's just an idea, is 2 thoughts, is maybe we engage the public into this. And there's 2 methods I was thinking, is a more townwide survey.
Can you say it again?
a more town-wide survey.
Tell us. Yeah.
You can use a product like SurveyMonkey, and put it on the website. And, ask probably some of the same questions that you proposed, prioritizing, these type of issues. And, prioritizing, these projects. And then maybe also making a presentation to the public at a public hearing, some sort, to engage in the public. And I think if you get public buy-in with the vision before you go to the select board, and you get people in the town talking about it at the coffee shop, and it kind of forces the select board's hand, because, there's something to get a phone call, from so-and-so down the road, I really like that vision, Sarah, or whoever's on the board, Jim, I really like that. And I think the survey that you have and the working group that you have is, I guess what I'm saying is that the public hasn't hit the public as a large, it's a small segment. And so that's what and that's just a thought.
That's always been part of the plan. We were picturing that happening after we knew we were aligned with the select board.
Which I think we have to get like permission from the select board to move forward, or at least let them know.
Okay.
I don't think they want to be blindsided.
Okay, all right,
I mean,
that makes sense, all right.
Yeah,
yeah.
we've always been told to go to Dennis first, and then have him go with our information, our recommendations
Yeah,
to the select.
or he tells us to go.
Right, or he tells us to show up and do our thing in the back of the room,
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't want.
So, yeah, and then we can be public, and then they can participate too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I do think being as public as possible and having like some
Public
graphics,
support.
like, poster here or there, or, I don't know, Facebook or a webpage or
Yeah,
whatever, so that people get talking about it.
yeah,
And we do refine it, but it's kind of huge.
it sounds like, this is a huge project,
It's huge.
yeah, this is transformative,
But I think it's an idea whose time has wanted to come. We haven't, you might not know this yet, but there are numerous plans for the waterfront that have come before us.
Only, and I haven't talked to working group at all, but in my opinion, is the only thing that I'd like to see happen before we do too much is I'd like to see if we can somehow get the grants and the permits to fill the mud flats from the bridge to the sewer treatment plant. And put parking up there. Because without parking, this Riverwalk is.
Do you mean find out if it's permittable?
Same thing we talked about when I first got on the committee.
But just to find out if we
Right,
actually.
fill in from where the bridge goes to a span. Yeah, fill in from there all the way to the sewer treatment plant, out. And make it a seasonal use, so we don't have to pave it, we can just leave it gravel, but without parking. The 29 spots they put at the Haggett Garage and the 18 spots they've got on Long Railroad Avenue, it's not gonna cut it for a project of this magnitude.
That seawall was one of the items on the list.
Go all the way from,
Does it go, I'm sorry, you're not with the
so
thing.
I thought the seawall
Okay,
just
so-
went from the existing creamery pier to the existing water, recreational water run.
I asked, I've been out of town when the final version of this was done, but I wanted a seawall exactly like you're describing, all the way out to the sewage treatment plant.
All the way right to where the,
Nothing.
Right. right where the approach comes down, across the railroad tracks, and it goes to the bridge, right where the rock stops, all the way to sewer treatment plant.
Yeah, why not?
Seawall and parking.
So, and
Without that, what's
We gotta look
screwed?
at the.
I wouldn't do the parking for the whole thing. I think you could have a modest amount of parking and then a grassy area going out to the water, but those are minor details you sort out later. That, I forget the gentleman's name who's on your committee. Who did he went to the DEP
Right.
with that specific question. And the answer he got was, if you wanna build a piling, like wood structure, then your request would go to the top of my list. If you wanna build a sea wall, where, it's granite or whatever, that would go to the bottom of my list.
But as far as maintenance and money,
Exactly, so my
It's a no-brainer.
statement was this, my idea was this. This is a vision casting operation. You want to have a unified vision, and yeah, there's gonna be elements of it that are hard, that you gotta go fight somebody about.
that's right.
But this is the time to do that, have the fist fight now, and tell them, look, you're standing in the way, number one, of our problem with sea level rise. You have ammo now that you didn't have 10 years ago.
Right.
Because you got sea level rise studies that say, this is a problem, and you're jeopardizing my community if you stand in my way. I mean, it's a perfect recipe to go beat up a DEP guy,
Right.
and I think you should. And I think it's a fight that's worth having.
I do too.
So, yeah, you and I are violently agreeing.
Absolutely. I mean, it just makes perfect sense. We don't have parking. This is a great vision.
Especially if the train comes in
Yeah.
Because I think
more.
if this goes through, we're gonna have a robust waterfront,
Yeah.
and I just think,
People don't wanna be there.
I wanna be there, I wanna see it, I wanna see it happen. It's good.
We all agree with that.
I don't want to compare us to another town, but, one town that I think did a really nice job at the waterfront, is Bucksport, actually.
Yeah,
You remember?
Yeah.
Who's been in our corner the most?
Bucksport.
Bucksport,
Um,
hands down, the harbor master is awesome.
I would go on a field trip up there and ask him how they did it. And we've been invited up.
Yeah, we've been invited there.
When we figured out, you haven't seen this plan, but we have an initial plan for the pier expansion project. We interviewed different harbor masters and like that from different towns of varying sizes and marina people, public and private, to gather information for viability and stuff. One thing we learned was that marinas have waiting lists for their slips. So,
That's a nice waterfront.
Do you guys have anything you want from me? I need to take the dogs home so I can go to this
Yeah,
meeting that I really did not want to go to tonight.
you think it was bad last
I
night?
got another one after this.
we're good. We're developing some questions, but they can wait. And probably Aaron will.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it tonight.
Yeah, actually, I should have mentioned it to him earlier, but the whole meeting tonight just slipped my mind completely, so. You guys are sitting here like, oh yeah, I have somebody I want you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
This is
So
exciting.
We'll hash some stuff out and,
Great. So we'll talk. Gotcha.
all right, thanks, Dennis.
And I think of it, Cal, we're just gonna do that.
Yes, I will, if I think of it.
I mean, the
I'll
whole,
help you.
like when we were talking, the whole thing in my mind is when we go through with this project, we wanna be as smart as we can for zero maintenance, if we can do it.
Yeah.
Pilings, no
Well,
good.
haven't we learned?
Go with concrete,
Yeah.
go with, look what we're trying to repair now.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, it's a dinosaur,
Put in concrete.
put in concrete, no,
Well,
only out.
granite.
Yeah,
Put the
only
granite
out, yeah, put the granite to it, it's gonna suck on the price, but,
It's stable.
do it one time, and have to fix it in 40 or 50 years, not fix it every 30 years,
So does that change your priority, or is that just a piece to just make sure we're passionate about?
Oh, I've always thought that we need to get rid of all piling,
Well, I think that when they initially
Like,
did,
I'd like to, like, when we do the river walk from the Creamy Pier to the waterfront, I'd like to eliminate the current dance pier and do concrete and get rid of all the piling, all the stuff that has to be repaired and maintained by the town crew. Zero maintenance is the way to go. Fiberglass pilings, concrete pilings, stuff that's not gonna rot, and it's gonna last for years.
well, didn't we, when we had that boardwalk design done,
Mhm.
didn't we decide that the walking path with filling in the dirt, because there was minimal places to fill it in at the time, but
Right.
since sea level storms and stuff, that could have changed. But that was the least costly to put a dirt path in
Right.
of some sort, similar,
Right,
and most sensible and
just what we're
maybe,
talking about, right?
Yeah. but that was just a simple walkway connecting the two piers, not with the green area you guys were talking about.
Yeah, it should be filled. Should have a seawall for sure, and a space there. It
Yeah.
wants to.
Well, if
be.
we're gonna do it once.
Yeah,
Absolutely, that was just like a quick fix to get it, that you're connected.
We just
That was,
want, yeah.
yeah,
that was using the funds we had available.
right.
A thought that I had was if you're, even if it's possible, but if you're filling in that area, in the mud flats, maybe you could build a dike and that would that would help with seawater rise. I know that, when I grew up in Connecticut, Hartford, they have a riverfront recapture program, and it's they have this wonderful pilot right on the Connecticut River. And they have basically a dike, that they built there years and years ago to prevent flooding in Hartford. But you don't even know that there's this sort of like earthen dam, because it's like a beautiful park and they have trails and stuff all over it. And, it doesn't have to be huge, but, you could almost put this little mound of dirt there, and we'd have to study it, but, how much it would. And then, if you did something like that too, there might be money or something like that, because you could say that, well, this is all for climate change, for preventing flooding in the village, I don't know about it. Just a thought.
Well, if it would prevent flooding, I mean, if you think about it, this railroad tracks, right here,
Seawall.
eventually,
Do it up.
Well, I
think,
thought you said you were talking about,
expand, going on the other side of the
Yeah.
railroad tracks. But they're there, but they're right at the water level.
I thought you were talking about filling that in though.
Yeah. Well, we can't cover up the railroad tracks.
No, I know, but I mean, how far?
So that might make
how
sense,
far
that's what
out
I'm
you-
saying.
How far out are you thinking of
Well,
filling?
far enough out to put in parking.
Probably 250 feet from the tracks at least.
Yeah, so you're plenty of room for a little. like,
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so you put a little, mound,
Yeah.
and.
So is that a refinement kind of thing? or-
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry about it's a technical term, it sounds weird, but
Dike,
it's a dam.
yeah.
yeah, no, I know what a dike is. It's basically like a dirt embankment, right,
Yeah.
rather than a,
I don't know if it would be,
It's definitely something that we could add or look into once we get to that part of looking at building up the seawall.
yeah, I think the idea is you would want consensus to fill in that space, however you do it.
However you do it,
So
so keep
basically-
it general until we
We're
know more.
keeping everything really general.
What I think he's talking about is doing what we wanna do with a seawall.
Yeah.
And then put a dike
on top of
in
it.
addition to it,
Yeah,
to keep the sea going back.
Yeah, so if it get, as the water gets higher,
yeah,
That's what I just picked up on when you were saying it, but.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, that makes sense. It's definitely an option to look into. once
And
we
be part
get
of the
to seawall.
green piece, the greenery.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a great idea. We love ideas that bring money, so
Yeah.
don't say no.
The tide's getting bigger.
So, question, so the next meeting is the select board meeting? Is that what you're trying
That
to?
sounds-
No,
Okay,
I think we really need to do some more refining, like,
Yeah.
I was thinking, let Aaron get his feet a little wetter, and
then go
Get a
through
full
all the
committee,
stuff,
and maybe get your.
get in
whole
contact
committee.
with you guys, hash it out, see, you know, so you're all on the same page, and then we can proceed from there.
Or should we like do a workshop with you
Yeah.
guys? Because I hate to admit, but I think this is all great, I just don't know how to put it together, I know how to help, but
Yeah, what are you looking to put together?
just the presentation would be, you know, what we're aiming at, presenting the whole concept, you know, making sure it stays simple, and maybe it's just for my brain,
Yeah,
Would you like us to put together a proposed, like, outline of how you do it and, or? Would you like us to pull that together and propose it, propose a way
a
for you
way
to do
to
it?
present it. Yeah, we could do that.
could you give it a try?
Yeah, no,
Just
if you're just
because I-
looking for guided, like, talking points per slide, we can do that. We can also present, I don't know if that's, the working group
Yeah,
can
great.
present.
Well, I think
At
you
the
should
select
definitely
board.
be here, I'm just not a big public speaker.
So can I just make a suggestion? I think
Yeah.
that, I mean, I don't wanna step on anybody's toes, but,
No
you
worries.
know, day two. But, I might recommend that maybe the working group make the presentation,
Mhm.
you know, because you're the ones that actually.
And you can answer all the
Yeah.
questions, and we
Yeah,
can
you're
just
the most
chime in.
knowledgeable, you know, and then if there's a charge after that, you know, we might discuss what the next steps are. So like the next steps are, it might be that the Waterfront Committee and the working group decide to do that public outreach or whatever that I was talking about or whatever. And then that's what the select board will say, okay, go forward with that. And
I see what you're saying.
yeah, and then that's where, we'll do that step. You know, the Waterfront Committee does that step, and then you come back to the select board with your report at a later date. But I think, in my opinion, you should let the working group get their day in the sun.
Yeah,
Oh, fine with me.
I'd definitely like to see, what I'd like to see happen, and this is just me speaking for me, I'd like to see you guys work with Aaron and do your presentations through him, and then we can be supportive on the side, you know, and say, you know, we support everything that you've done, but work it through him, the new guy that's something just hired. I think that'll bring a lot more clout, your group with him and our Waterfront Committee going to something that has all of us together. I think that might,
And that feels like it's the next step
That's
before
right.
doing anything else.
That's
is
right.
This needs to get to the select board
that's right.
to
Through
be,
the guys who developed
yeah,
it,
to get it
through our new
presented.
economic developer,
Sure,
and we can support as needed. I think that's.
I think that's what we've been trying to drive
Yeah,
at from,
Right.
yeah, from lots of different directions. But
Right.
So
it's gonna put in my minutes.
what do you think we need for a time frame? He needs to at least be here 3 days.
Yeah, I don't know if it's helpful if one of us sits down with you and the presentation.
Well,
So you can ask those
I think you guys
questions.
should just give the presentation.
I agree with that, but outside of, like, I'm okay with just presenting it, or David definitely presenting it, because he's a great
I
speaker.
think I don't know, I didn't read what you have here, but
Yeah,
I think the next step part is what you recommend is
Yeah.
that,
we're comfortable with
is
that.
that you recommend that the Waterfront Committee and your group and, work with me on the next steps. of
Yeah.
doing that.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So what we should do is come up with a recommendation to be put on the agenda, or to email Dennis and say we'd like to get put on the agenda, the select board agenda.
I'll be willing to work with you on that proposal for the next step.
And then, like that, right? And then depending on how that goes.
Yeah.
So one of the things that hopefully would come out of that is if you do like just say, we introduce you, like I don't mind introducing and then
Yeah.
sitting down, and you guys go at it, it'll be great. And then, the two of us work together, hopefully, you know, on the public outreach and designing a survey and like that.
And, yep. Exciting next
And
steps.
that would be, oh, that's easy.
If we all work together, hit it from all sides, I think that's gonna be the answer.
Right,
You're right.
together is the
I
key.
agree.
Unified voice.
That's right, unified voice, everybody's on the same page.
Agreed.
Cool. So I'll send a memo to Dennis saying that we'd like to be put on the agenda to present our working groups.
Whatever works for these guys
River,
and him, you know.
Yeah.
Sure.
And in the meantime, there'll be a time lag, right, so we can hold, like that.
Yeah, holidays.
So you'll be able to, I think you'll be able to, or do you guys wanna connect first?
Yeah, I got his card, I'll
Yeah.
reach out, or one of us will reach out and.
And we've at least got a couple of
connected.
weeks, I think.
Okay,
Yeah, we can do.
Should that work?
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
great.
So hopefully we'll get to the select board before our next waterfront meeting. Our next waterfront committee meeting is usually in a month. It's usually the second Tuesday. So it's like blue dots.
Okay. I have.
Okay, you got that?
Awesome, sounds great, perfect.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
So is the next
Thank you.
waterfront the 12th of December?
Huh?
Is the next
All right.
waterfront committee the 12th of December?
Should be, yep, I know it's about that. I'm just not looking at the calendar, so.
Nice meeting you, Erin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, you too.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
And all your hard work.
Not as hard as you, Susan.
See, I say that too.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Take care.
Good night.
Good. I agree. That sounds good. I'm so delighted you're here and I'm so
Well, I-
delighted that, and they should do it.
I hope I didn't step in your toe.
No, see, the thing that I wanna do is I wanna have the guys who developed it. I'll take the fall for it if it falls, but they know what they've developed. Work through our new guy,
Yep.
and we can support these two units
Mhm.
and hit them all at once.
Well, I think that in my experience in most of government in doing this is that you always let the committee that, or the group of people that do that work, right, and let them make the presentation and let them,
Yeah, it's their baby.
their baby.
Mhm.
And then they'll let the select board make the decision on what the next steps are. They'll make a recommendation, and then, so you work up that chain of command, so, and I think what you can do is also, at that meeting, is, you can support their recommendation, the Waterfront Committee. So whatever they recommend, we can also sort of issue a memorandum or something that says, yes, we support their, whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? So it goes to the select board, so that, so it's a joint thing, so that it looks like, and I think with their recommendation, I'm gonna work with, is that they work with the Waterfront Committee. The Waterfront Committee is now charged with implementing the plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we're kind of like together.
Okay.
Like, actually, see, we're the town committee and they're a subcommittee of us. So in a way, it's sort of, and then we are an advisory committee to the select board.
Sure.
So I think I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you are.
Yes.
And, I think too, to just, I think it would be good if we help direct the select board in the direction we wanna go in.
Yeah, that's
They can
right.
always say no.
Yeah.
But things like, the public outreach, I don't know how the heck we're gonna do that, but designing a survey. We've got a lot of pockets in this town.
Yeah.
Where public things can happen.
But I also feel like part
We
of,
have Middle Street, we have High Street, we've got all these streets that have their own little cookie things, you'll learn.
Yeah.
I've heard about some of it, so, I mean, in my experience where, when you have to do those outreach efforts, it's that you go to them.
Yeah.
So you just, make an effort,
Right.
When I was doing a sidewalk project in Maine, I went to the library, I went to the church, I went to the yacht club,
Yeah,
So
we'd be
it
so
was-
sick of presenting that.
yeah, it actually helped in the end run because people asked their questions and they got what they needed. So when we went into special town meeting to vote on it,
Mhm.
you know, that they understood it.
Right,
And,
but we'd have to bring that information back, sift it, and document it properly, right?
yeah,
People's concerns, just because stuff gets lost.
yeah,
But what, so I'm thinking for like a graphic thing, we might need some help with someone, like, we're gonna need a whole map of the waterfront to look down, you know, while we're busy talking, not just the pictures of the buildings or a seawall, but where it goes, what we're thinking, how it would stick out there, you
yeah.
know, like that.
Aaron doesn't even know about the ferry landing yet, or, you know, anything down that way. You know,
Right.
part of our waterfront or up.
Actually, I didn't know about the purple.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I learned about it.
Oh, cool.
In preparation for the job, so,
There you go.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
Preparation for the
you need to have a full tour of the town.
Yeah.
I had to do a presentation for the job about recruiting a boat manufacturing facility here. And the, part of the assignment was that there was 2 properties in town that the town owns. One was at the Mason Station, you know, that whole
Oh, yeah, we know.
property over there, and then the old Ferry Road property, that big, like 200 or 300 acre property.
Right.
And, I had to like make a presentation, basically offering up, you know, those 2 properties to a, I don't know what you call it, mystery boat maker.
Yeah,
And, I had to kind of sell it to that boat maker, why I come to Wiscasset, and so like, anyways, that's all.
deep water. Water current.
So anyways,
No ice.
No
so
worries.
you know, I did a lot of research on, yeah, this, you know, different grants and stuff about how to keep the boat launch down there, and so,
How to improve that launch down
yeah.
there? Yeah, it is a little frightening.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear. Can I just get a motion to adjourn, so I think we're done?
Yes. So,
Okay. Thank you.
oh yeah,
Awesome.
on to our next meeting.